Hey Lancers, thanks for watching this video. The lesson that you missed is a really important one that you'll need in order to do your project that's coming up. And so this is really important that you're watching this video. So I'm going to go quickly through what we did. We started with a warm-up where every student had a map of Japan, and we worked in our groups looking at this map of Japan to try and identify different landforms that could be found on this map. Okay, so the landforms that we were trying to identify were bay, gulf, strait, peninsula, isthmus, and archipelago. So I'm going to have you in a second, pause the video and see if you can find any of those. Now, if you don't remember what some of those are, you can flip back. You should be using your notes to look at them. So bay, you can read the definition, you can look at the picture of what a bay is, and then come back to here and see if you can find a bay on this. So there are lots of bays, lots of peninsulas. There's kind of, I guess, multiples of most of these on here. You don't have to find them all, but go ahead and pause the video and try and find at least one of each of these. When you're done, start again and we'll talk about it. Okay, so here's what we found in one of our classes. We found a couple of bays. There's a bay here and a bay here. We thought maybe this could be a gulf with a little bay coming off of it. We found two straits, a strait right here, a narrow stretch of water connecting two larger bodies of water, and this right here could be a strait. Lots of peninsulas here, here. This could be a peninsula. This could be a peninsula. I mean, peninsulas are all over the place. Isthmus was a little tougher. We thought maybe right here could be an isthmus, that narrow strip of land connecting two larger areas of land. Maybe here an isthmus, and maybe even right here. And then we figured that the whole thing, Japan, is an archipelago. So the whole thing, the whole country is an archipelago, a group of many islands. So I'm going to go ahead and go back to our slides. All right, so this lesson is important because I want you to think about what we're working toward creating. So your project that you're going to work on is you're going to create a continent and make a political and a physical map for it. The political map is fairly simple. The physical map is a little more challenging. So on your physical map, you're going to need to include as many of our landforms as you can. So you can see right here, she included a peninsula. This right here could be a bay. Maybe this could be a gulf, okay? But those kinds of landforms like we did in warm-up are pretty simple to include because all you have to do is draw them on there. But when you're adding things like mountain ranges and valleys and plateaus, plains, those cannot be just drawn on into the shape of the land. You actually have to show those landforms through color on a physical map, through elevation change. So this right here is a mountain range. These are the Feather Mountains. And Alex is showing that through the changes in color. So that's what we're going to talk about today, is how does color show elevation on a physical map? So in order to understand what elevation is, you have to understand the term sea level. So sea level is the level of the ocean's surface. So this guy right here is standing right at sea level, right on the surface of the ocean. This person is below. This person is above sea level. So if you think about water going into a bathtub, it doesn't just stay on one side as it fills up, it evens out, right? The oceans are the same way. They have generally a fairly constant level surface. So the top of the oceans is considered sea level. Okay? So then let's talk about what elevation is. Elevation is your height above or below sea level. So here's the ocean. If we were to take the top of the ocean and draw a line all the way out like this, how high you are above that line is your elevation. So if you're on top of a mountain, if you were to draw a line straight out across it's over the ocean and then measure that distance, that would be your elevation. Places can be above sea level, or you can also have a negative elevation, be below sea level. Not all places that are below sea level are actually under the ocean. Most are, but there are places on land that are actually below sea level as well. Okay, so this is what elevation is, how many feet above or below sea level you are. Tall mountains have a high elevation. In Colorado, we're known for our 14ers. Those are mountains that are at least 14,000 feet above sea level. Fort Collins is about 5,000 feet above sea level. Mount Everest, the highest point on Earth, is about 29,000 feet above sea level. So that's what we're talking about when we talk about elevation. Okay, if you need to do any more research, you can pause the video and do that. There's some great videos online that explain elevation. All right, so first thing we did was we turned to the physical map on page A8 and A9 or A8 in our textbook. It's the physical map of North America. I'll just flip through real quick and show you. The physical map looks like this, and this is the key. So we started by answering some questions to make sure we understand the key. First of all, we noted, number one, that there's two sets of numbers on this side and this side. That's because this side shows the elevation in feet. This side shows the elevation in meters. So 10,000 feet is equivalent to 3,050 meters. We are going to ignore the meters side, and we are just going to use the side that says feet. Okay? Next question was, what color would the tallest mountains on the map be? And we decided that those would be the highest elevation, so that they would be this red. So when you see red on the map and some dark orange, those are going to represent taller mountains. Land that's at the beach at sea level is going to be this dark green, because this line right here represents 0 feet of elevation. So 0 to 500 feet of elevation is the beach, is stuff that's kind of at sea level. Light purple down here represents land that is below sea level. And then finally, the darkest orange represents land that is between 5,000 and 10,000. So basically 5,000 to 9,999 feet above sea level. So every color is a range of elevations. Okay, so basically the higher you are up in color on this key, the higher the land is above sea level. If you're down here, the lower the land is, the lower the elevation. All right, so we're going to flip ahead. And here's our key, and here's our map. Notice, first of all, that all the land that touches the ocean is dark green, because all the land touching the ocean, for the most part, starts at sea level, and that's 0 degrees of elevation. So we go green first, and as the land rises away from sea level, we move up into these other colors. So even if there's just a little bit of green, all the land touching the ocean is green. Now I want you to pause the video and tell me if you can find any landforms that are shown through elevation and color. And I want you to notice what those colors look like. So the 5 I'd like you to look for are mountain range, valley, basin, plain, and plateau, because each of these landforms, if you include them on your map, you'll need to show them with a change in color. You won't be drawing those landforms in. So if you need to use your IMB to help you remember what some of these landforms are, do that, but go ahead, pause real quick and see if you can find some of these landforms on the map, even if they're not labeled, and then we'll come back and talk about them. Okay, so mountain range. Those are going to be our oranges and reds. So you can see a couple major mountain ranges. The Rocky Mountains are here, and then also the Appalachian Mountains are here. All right, a series of mountain peaks together. So mountain ranges are fairly easy to find on the map. What about a valley? So I think the best example of a valley on this map is right here in California. This is that Central Valley that we looked at when we were looking at pictures of landforms. So this is a low place. It's green, so it's low elevation, and it's surrounded by mountains, things in the orange. So this is a low place between mountains. You might also be able to find a valley like right here. Look at this little patch of green that's surrounded by orange. Ooh, look at this area below sea level. It's low, that's surrounded by higher land. That could be a valley as well. So this is what a valley would look like on your map. Low elevation land surrounded by land of higher colors. A plain would be a large area of pretty much flat land. So you're going to have a large area that is one color, kind of like this coastal plain right here. I mean, this is all just pretty flat land. The Great Plains are here, and they do transition from orange to this yellowish to light green, but it does it over such a long period of time that this land would basically just look flat. So this is a whole kind of a flat area as well. But when you do a plain, you're mostly going to have a big area of all one color, because that means the elevation is not changing, therefore it's flat. Plateaus can be a little more challenging. This area here is the Colorado Plateau, high flat land cut by canyons. It's hard to tell a little bit if it's flat or mountainous in there because it could also be mountain ranges, but this map is telling us that this is a plateau. And then finally, a basin. There is a basin over here, but I think the best example would be the Mississippi River Basin. Remember, a basin is an area of land that's surrounded by mountains and into which water drains. So water is draining to this land. So basically, the Mississippi River Basin is where all the rainfall and the snow melt, things that come out of these areas, these mountains and these areas here, it eventually funnels down through rivers and ends up in the Mississippi River and then drains out through here. So this low area here is a basin. Lots of water from lots of rivers flowing into it. Okay, so you can see how the different colors would show different landforms on your map. All right, real quick. Last thing, let's look real quick at these two pictures of two beaches, okay? So each of these pictures is a beach in one state in our country. So notice this beach is sea level and it quickly rises to mountains. And this beach from sea level, it stays pretty flat as far as the eye can see. So my question for you is, can you tell where either of these pictures might have been taken on this map based on what you see of the pictures and how the elevation is shown on the map? So if you want to pause and think about it, go ahead. All right, so this one over here, this big flat area at the beach, this is taken in Florida. Look at how Florida is a big flat area. So you go to the beach and as far as the eye can see, you're not going to see mountains when you're down here in Florida. There just aren't any. It's all low elevation land. So it would look like this. This over here is the California coast. It's much more rugged. The land quickly gives rise from beach to mountains. And so it looks more like this over here. So we've got California coast and we've got Florida coast. All right, finally, we're going to do a little quiz. So you can write down numbers 1 to 5 and let's see how you do. So I'm going to put up 3 points. 1, 2, 3. All right, of these 3 points, I want to know which is the highest, which is the lowest, and which one is in the middle or medium. Which one has the highest elevation, which has the lowest, which one is the medium or in the middle. So you can pause the video and think about that if you want. All right, so comparing the 3, the highest point would be this one here, number 2, because it is the highest up in color, like on our elevation chart. So this is like red and orange. So this would be the highest point. The lowest point would be number 1 down here in the dark green, and the one in the middle would be 3. So highest, lowest, medium. Question number 4. If you were to stand on this arrow and travel in this direction, right? So if you were to be driving or walking on this line from here to here, would you be going up or going down in elevation? Would you be going up or down, rising or falling, going uphill or downhill? Think about it. The answer is you would be going down. You'd be starting up here in the red and orange, and you'd be working your way down to green, so you would be going down in elevation. And finally, number 5, if you were to start here and be traveling along this arrow, would you be going up or down in elevation? And the answer for this one is you would be going up. You're starting at sea level and you're moving up to the mountains, so you would be going up in elevation. Okay, that's your little mini lesson on this. Hopefully you have an idea of how color represents elevation on physical maps. If you have any questions, please let me know.